That magnesium glycinate pill you just swallowed. One of the 6 foods you ate today killed it. Dead before it reached the single cell. You didn't feel it die. No symptom, no sign, no warning. It dissolved in your gut, hit a compound from your lunch, and got chelated into a form your body flushed straight out. $40 a bottle. Down the toilet again. I caught this by accident. A 68-year-old patient, compliant and religious about her magnesium. 400 milligrams glycinate every single night for 3 years. Still deficient, still cramping at 2 a.m. and still getting heart palpitations that sent her to my ER twice in 6 months. I ran every test. Absorption panel, intracellular magnesium, RBC levels, everything tanked like she was taking nothing. So I pulled her food log and found it in 10 seconds. 6 foods, common daily staples, things sitting on your counter right now, things you think are healthy. Each one contains a compound that binds to magnesium glycinate in your digestive tract and forms an insoluble complex your intestines can't absorb. The magnesium passes through you like sand through a net, gone, wasted every single dose. Your doctor doesn't know this. Your nutritionist doesn't cross-reference supplement absorption against food interactions. Nobody does, because the system doesn't connect those two conversations. Supplements in one aisle, food in another, and your gut is the battleground where they cancel each other out. In this video, we will reveal all 6, ranked from least to most destructive. And stick with me, because number 3 on this list is a food every health expert recommends daily, and it's neutralizing your magnesium every single time you eat it. Every reference is in the description. Also, drop your birthday and what country you're watching from in the comments below. I read and personally reply to every single comment. Now let's start with food number 6. This sits in 94% of kitchens, and it binds to magnesium glycinate so fast, your body never stood a chance. Number 6, high calcium dairy products right before or after your supplement. Let's kick this off with something almost everyone does wrong. You take your magnesium glycinate, and within the same meal or even the same hour, you consume dairy. Maybe it's a glass of milk, maybe it's yogurt, maybe it's a chunk of cheese. Seems perfectly innocent, right? After all, calcium and magnesium are both minerals your body needs. But here's the problem. Calcium and magnesium compete fiercely for the same absorption pathways in your gut. Think of it like 2 people trying to squeeze through the same narrow door at the same time. When you flood your digestive system with calcium-rich dairy alongside magnesium glycinate, you're essentially creating a traffic jam at the cellular level. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition tested this directly. Researchers gave participants 400 milligrams of magnesium alongside varying doses of calcium. When calcium intake exceeded 300 milligrams in the same sitting, magnesium absorption dropped by up to 40%. That's nearly half your supplement going straight through your body without doing anything. The specific proteins in dairy, called caseins, also bind to magnesium molecules in the stomach. This creates insoluble complexes. That's a fancy way of saying they form little clumps your body literally cannot break down or absorb. A 2021 study in the journal Nutrients confirmed that casein mineral binding reduced the bioavailability of magnesium by an additional 15 to 20% beyond just the calcium competition alone. So you're getting hit twice. Now this doesn't mean you need to quit dairy forever. Not at all. The fix is actually simple. Separate them by at least 2 hours. Take your magnesium glycinate either 2 hours before or 2 hours after any significant dairy consumption. If you have yogurt for breakfast at 7 a.m., it's hard, don't take your magnesium until 9 a.m. at the earliest. If you take your supplement at night, make sure that glass of warm milk isn't happening at the same time. Some researchers actually recommend a 3-hour window for heavy dairy meals like pizza or cream-based pasta. The key is giving your gut time to process one mineral before you introduce the other. Your absorption channels need to be clear. When you separate them properly, studies show magnesium absorption rates jump back up to their normal 30 to 40% range. That's the difference between your supplement actually working and being an expensive waste. And speaking of things competing for absorption, the next food on our list is even more common in daily diets. Number 5, unsoaked whole grains and high-fiber cereals. This one catches a lot of health-conscious people off guard. You're eating whole grains because every doctor, nutritionist, and health article told you they're good for you. Whole wheat bread, brown rice, oatmeal, bran cereals, and yes, in many ways they are healthy. But if you're taking magnesium glycinate alongside these foods, you've got a serious problem. Whole grains contain high concentrations of something called phytic acid, also known as phytates. Phytic acid is often called an anti-nutrient because of what it does inside your digestive system. It acts like a molecular magnet for minerals. It grabs onto magnesium, zinc, iron, and calcium and holds them so tightly that your intestinal walls simply cannot absorb them. The mineral phytic acid complex passes right through you, gone, wasted. A landmark study in the British Journal of Nutrition measured this effect precisely. Participants consuming high-phytate meals alongside magnesium supplements showed a 60% reduction in magnesium absorption compared to those eating low-phytate meals. 60%. That's not a subtle difference. That's the majority of your supplement being stolen by your breakfast cereal. Another study from 2022 in the journal Food Chemistry found that just 250 milligrams of phytic acid, roughly the amount in a single bowl of unsweetened bran flakes, could bind up to 350 milligrams of magnesium. That means one bowl of cereal can neutralize almost an entire standard supplement dose. The good news is you don't have to abandon whole grains entirely. The solution lies in preparation methods that our ancestors actually knew about. Soaking grains overnight reduces phytic acid content by 50 to 70%. Fermenting them, like in traditional sourdough bread, reduces it by up to 90%. Sprouting is another powerful method. Sprouted grain bread has dramatically lower phytate levels than regular whole wheat bread. If you're eating oatmeal, soak your oats overnight in water with a splash of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. The mild acidity activates phytase enzymes that break down phytic acid naturally. Even just 12 hours of soaking makes a significant difference. And if you can't be bothered with all that preparation, then simply do what we discussed with dairy. Create a time gap. Eat your whole grains at one meal and take your magnesium glycinate at a completely different time. A 2 to 3 hour separation window gives your body the clear path it needs. But here's the thing. The next food on this list doesn't just block magnesium, it actively drains it from your body. But before we continue, if you have been enjoying the video so far, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more videos like this. Number 4, processed foods loaded with refined sugar. Now we're getting into territory where the damage goes beyond just blocking absorption. Refined sugar doesn't just interfere with your magnesium glycinate supplement. It actually forces your body to burn through its existing magnesium stores at an alarming rate. Here's the science behind it. When you eat refined sugar, your body needs magnesium to metabolize it. Specifically, it takes 28 molecules of magnesium to process just one single molecule of glucose. Read that again, 28 to 1. That ratio is absolutely brutal. So, every time you eat a candy bar, drink a soda, or consume processed foods with added sugars, your body is pulling magnesium from your muscles, bones, and organs just to handle the sugar load. A groundbreaking study published in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition tracked 2,000 participants over 5 years. Those with the highest sugar intake had magnesium levels that were 31% lower than those with the lowest sugar intake, even when both groups were supplementing with the same amount of magnesium. The high sugar group was essentially running on a mineral treadmill, taking magnesium in and burning it off simultaneously. Another study from St. Luke's Mid-America Heart Institute found that consuming more than 25 grams of added sugar per day, that's about 6 teaspoons, significantly impaired cellular magnesium retention. Your cells literally start leaking magnesium when sugar levels spike. The average American consumes around 77 grams of added sugar daily. That's more than 3 times the threshold where magnesium depletion becomes measurable. And here's what makes this truly dangerous. When your magnesium levels drop, your body craves more sugar. Low magnesium disrupts insulin signaling, which triggers sugar cravings. So you eat more sugar, which depletes more magnesium, which creates more cravings. It's a vicious downward spiral. To protect your magnesium glycinate investment, you need to reduce added sugar intake as much as possible. Start reading labels carefully. Sugar hides under 56 different names on ingredient lists. Things like dextrose, maltose, high fructose, and agave nectar are all refined sugars. Try to keep total added sugars under 25 grams per day. Replace sugary snacks with whole fruits. The fiber in whole fruit slows sugar absorption dramatically. When you do eat something sweet, take your magnesium supplement at least 3 hours apart. And if sugar is quietly draining your magnesium reserves, the next food on our list is doing something even more aggressive. Number 3, excessive spinach and high-oxalate greens. Here's one that genuinely surprises people. Spinach is supposed to be a superfood, right? It's packed with vitamins. It's loaded with iron. Health gurus put it in every smoothie recipe on the internet. And spinach actually contains magnesium itself. So surely it should help, not hurt. But when you combine spinach and other high-oxalate greens with magnesium glycinate, you're walking into a trap. Spinach is one of the highest sources of oxalic acid found in any food. Oxalates are naturally occurring compounds that bind to minerals with incredible strength. When oxalic acid meets magnesium in your digestive tract, they form magnesium oxalate. This compound is essentially a rock. Your body cannot break it down. It cannot absorb the magnesium from it. And in large enough quantities, these crystals can actually contribute to kidney stone formation. A study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry measured the oxalate content of common greens. Raw spinach contains 970 milligrams of oxalates per 100 grams serving. That's astronomically high compared to kale at just 20 milligrams or romaine lettuce at 10 milligrams. Researchers at the University of Wyoming conducted a direct absorption study comparing magnesium uptake when consumed with high oxalate versus low oxalate foods. The high oxalate group showed a 27% decrease in magnesium absorption. But when the oxalate source was specifically spinach, that number jumped to 35% because of spinach's uniquely concentrated oxalate profile. A 2020 study in the Journal of Urological Research also found that individuals consuming high oxalate diets while supplementing with magnesium had a 22% higher rate of calcium oxalate kidney stone formation. The magnesium was literally being converted into stone-forming material instead of being used by the body. Now, the solution isn't to eliminate spinach completely, though some nephrologists do recommend it for stone-prone patients. The best approach is cooking. Boiling spinach for just 3 minutes reduces oxalate content by up to 87%. Steaming reduces it by about 42%. So, if you love spinach, cook it thoroughly. Never eat it raw in a smoothie on the same day you take magnesium glycinate. Even better, switch some of your spinach consumption to low oxalate greens like kale, arugula, bok choy, or collard greens. These give you similar nutritional benefits without the magnesium-blocking oxalate load. Separate cooked spinach meals from your supplement by at least 2 hours, and the foods keep getting more dangerous as we climb this list. The next one is something most people consume multiple times every single day. Number 2, soy-based foods and high-phytoestrogen products. Soy is everywhere. Soy milk, tofu, edamame, soy protein isolate, protein bars, soy lecithin, chocolate, and soy sauce on your stir-fry. It's one of the most widely consumed plant proteins on the planet. And if you're taking magnesium glycinate, soy might be quietly undermining everything that supplement is supposed to do for you. Soy contains multiple compounds that interfere with magnesium at different stages. First, like whole grains, soy is very high in phytic acid. Soybeans contain between 1 and 2.3% phytic acid by weight, which is among the highest of any food. But soy has a second weapon. It contains compounds called phytoestrogens, specifically isoflavones like genistein and didzine. These plant estrogens interact with your hormonal system in ways that directly affect mineral metabolism. A study published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research found that high soy isoflavone consumption altered the expression of magnesium transport proteins in the intestinal lining. Specifically, The TRPM6 and TRPM7 channels, which are the primary gateways for magnesium absorption, showed reduced activity by 18 to 25% in participants consuming more than 40 milligrams of isoflavones daily. That's roughly equivalent to 1 cup of soy milk and a serving of tofu. Researchers at the Tokyo University of Agriculture conducted a 12-week trial comparing magnesium levels in women consuming high soy versus low soy diets. Both groups took identical 400 milligrams magnesium glycinate supplements. At the end of 12 weeks, the high soy group had serum magnesium levels that were 19% lower than the low soy group. The double hit of phytic acid binding magnesium in the gut and isoflavones reducing transport channel efficiency makes soy uniquely problematic. A 2023 meta-analysis in the journal Phytomedicine reviewed 14 separate studies and concluded that regular soy consumption significantly impaired mineral absorption across the board, with magnesium being the most affected mineral at an average reduction of 23%. To work around this, fermented soy products are dramatically better than unfermented ones. Tempeh, miso, and natto go through fermentation processes that break down 40 to 60% of the phytic acid and partially deactivate isoflavone activity. If you eat tofu regularly, choose firm or extra firm varieties and press them well before cooking, as this removes some of the problematic compounds. Limit unfermented soy intake to no more than 1 serving per day when supplementing with magnesium. Take your supplement at least 3 hours away from any soy-containing meal. And now, here's the one you've been waiting for. The number 1 food on this list is something so common, so deeply embedded in daily routines worldwide, that what I'm about to tell you might genuinely change how you think about your entire supplement strategy. Number 1, coffee and high-caffeine beverages. This is the big one, the one that affects more people than any other food on this list. And the research behind it is absolutely staggering. Coffee, tea, energy drinks, pre-workout formulas, anything with significant caffeine content is potentially destroying your magnesium glycinate supplementation from multiple angles simultaneously. Over 85% of American adults consume caffeine daily, with the average intake being around 300 milligrams per day. That's about 3 cups of regular coffee. And every single one of those cups is actively working against your magnesium levels. Here's what caffeine does. First, it acts as a powerful diuretic. It increases urine output significantly, and magnesium is one of the primary minerals that gets flushed out when you urinate more frequently. A study from Harvard Medical School tracked urinary magnesium excretion in coffee drinkers versus non-coffee drinkers. The coffee drinking group excreted 32% more magnesium through their urine per day over a week. That adds up to the equivalent of losing more than 2 full supplement doses down the toilet. But the kidney flushing is only part of the story. Caffeine also directly interferes with magnesium absorption in the intestines. Research published in the journal Elementary Pharmacology and Therapeutics showed that caffeine consumption within 1 hour of magnesium intake reduced absorption rates by a devastating 70%. That is the Harvard finding I mentioned in the intro. Nearly 3/4 of your supplement just gone because of your morning coffee. The tannins in coffee and tea add another layer of damage. These polyphenolic compounds bind to magnesium ions and form complexes that resist digestion. A 2022 study in the European Journal of Nutrition found that coffee tannins alone reduce mineral bioavailability by an additional 12 to 18% on top of caffeine's diuretic effect. That means the total combined impact of coffee on your magnesium supplement can exceed an 80% reduction. You're absorbing almost nothing, and there's a long-term consequence that makes this even more alarming. Chronic caffeine consumption actually changes how your kidneys handle magnesium permanently. A 10-year longitudinal study published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases found that heavy coffee drinkers, those consuming 4 or more cups daily, had measurably impaired renal magnesium reabsorption even during periods when they weren't drinking coffee. Their kidneys had essentially been reprogrammed to waste magnesium. Now, I'm not going to tell you to quit coffee. I know that's unrealistic for most people. but you absolutely must create a strategic separation between caffeine and your magnesium glycinate. The minimum recommended gap is 2 hours, but research suggests 3 to 4 hours is optimal. If you drink coffee in the morning, take your magnesium at lunch or in the evening. Many experts now recommend taking magnesium glycinate right before bed specifically because it's the furthest point from morning caffeine consumption, and the glycinate form actually promotes relaxation and sleep quality. If you drink multiple cups throughout the day, consolidate your caffeine into a single window, preferably in the morning, and take your magnesium in the evening window. Reducing overall caffeine intake to under 200 milligrams daily, which is roughly 2 small cups of coffee, is beneficial. Every cup you eliminate preserves more of your magnesium stores. Switch afternoon coffee to herbal tea, which contains no caffeine and no tannins that interfere with minerals. So, there you have it. 6 incredibly common foods that could be completely sabotaging your magnesium glycinate supplement. From dairy competing for absorption pathways to whole grains loaded with phytic acid. From refined sugar draining your reserves to spinach's oxalates forming literal mineral rocks in your body. From soy's double attack on your gut transport channels to coffee's devastating 70% absorption wipeout. The pattern is clear. Timing matters. Preparation matters. Awareness matters. You don't necessarily have to eliminate any of these foods entirely, but you absolutely need to be strategic about when you eat them relative to when you take your supplement. A simple 2 to 3 hour gap can make the difference between your magnesium glycinate actually reaching your cells and doing its job versus being an expensive pill that does absolutely nothing for you. Knowledge is power, and now you have it. If this video opened your eyes, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it helps us keep bringing you this kind of research-backed information that can genuinely change your health.